let's go to the security van.
Get out and vote, bitch.
So is it
All
tool
right,
time?
as
Is
we
EJ's a
do-
tool, or what is happening?
Yes,
That's
it
pretty
is.
much what it is. I think I just
Yeah.
finally got that joke.
No, that's
It
what
took you a long time, brother.
I always get distracted by the theme music, and then I'm like, oh, he's the tool.
Yes,
I get it.
It was what 3 years ago now, Jim.
It's
Our-
4 years now. This is season 4.
Our,
I've
You're
had
right, it
tiny
was the
kids
first
the whole time. I've been in and out of the
what
podcast.
I'm
You're lucky I
telling
made
you.
picks.
yeah, you're. That's
Right.
what I'm telling you.
Sean, I'm very proud of you, by the way.
Shut the fuck up, EJ.
Fuck you, Kyle.
So you should
Wow.
be so lucky. Moving on.
This is my segment now. Get out of here.
It's look at your segment.
It is his segment.
You got
Just
the
back
first
off.
merch. Here,
Kyle.
back off. But the story is he made a power ranking so bad. I said, EJ, you tool, and it stuck. It's that simple.
To
Well,
be
that
fair,
completely
you've been
makes
clowning my rankings for like fucking 12 years now. So
Not
whatever.
all of them. When you get it right, I tell you. You just don't
do.
get
Yeah,
it right.
those
All
three
right,
times.
go ahead there, Hammer Drill. You
Yeah,
got
those
this.
3 times in 12 years you've
Oh,
gotten them.
okay, Beers at 10. Calm down, okay?
Yeah, that was
All
my
right.
one slip up in 4 years.
Please.
All right, EJ, what is your bottom 5?
All right, look right, Kyle.
I am.
Thank you.
Hey,
All right, bottom 5. Here we go. 28 Giants, 29
Oh,
Patriots, 30 the Browns, 31 Titans, 32 Panthers.
Yeah, I don't. I would probably have the Jets in there.
I do,
No.
but more on that later.
More on that later.
Wait
There's a team in South Beach that would like to make a phone call.
Hold on
I
one
just
second.
hit-
Wait.
I just-
Hold on 1 second. Because I thought I did have the Jets in there. No, that was last. Dude, you got it wrong. I have just a 30, buddy.
Did I put the wrong?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
you were
so-
like reading EJ and just
No,
put
I
the
have
Browns.
20. I have both New York teams. there.
Okay.
28,
Okay. Yeah.
28
So yeah, he
Giants,
does.
29 Patriots, 30 the Jets.
You're right. Jets
31
should be at
Titans.
30. It's going to be wrong on the other graphic as well.
EJ wants the Browns at 9.
Don't say.
Yeah, Jets 30. Okay, then yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but I guess I don't really understand how you had the Raiders at 28 last week. They lost to the Chiefs. You had the Giants out last week. They lost to. They were in a close loss to the Steelers.
Oh, no,
I
Steelers, that's right.
don't necessarily understand the swapping of the two, but
A
The
7-point
Patriots
loss.
are there, but they beat
A
the
7-point loss to the greatest team in football history is better than a close loss to.
Homer.
No.
I'm using his.
Patriots
Yeah,
are
I-
third in the AFC.
And you'd
East.
be
The team
right,
below 'em's
Michael.
not on your bottom 5.
I know I was right. Thank you.
all right, EJ, who's your top 10?
Top
this
10.
week?
Here we go. Number 10, the Steelers. Number 9, the Commanders. Number 8, the Texans. 7, Packers. 6, Vikings. 5, Bills. 4, Ravens. 3, Eagles. 2, Lions. And, of course, number 1, Chris Jones. And go. Let's fight.
Where did you have the Steelers?
I
Where
don't
did you have the
hate
Steelers
it.
last week.
10. That didn't move.
I feel like the separation between the Eagles and the Commanders is a little weird.
So,
'Cause I feel like
I-
those two teams are trying to decide who's the best.
True.
in the East,
So, Sean,
and I don't
real
think
quick,
the Eagles
Sean,
are that much better than the
I've
Commanders,
been saying this
if
since
at all.
Okay, Sean, real quick. So I've been saying this since they were 2-2. The Eagles 2-2. I said this, that until I see that first Eagles Commanders game,
Yeah,
and as
you've
long as
been high on the Eagles the
and-
whole time,
and as
have
long
had
as the
them ahead
Eagles
of them.
keep winning games, which they have been doing,
Yeah, I mean
last
you're
few weeks,
consistently
I
wrong.
want to.
but yeah.
That game's in now for the record. That game's in 2 weeks on Thursday Night Football for the record. Yeah. Until I see that game, I still think the Eagles win the division.
Is that a Thursday game?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's terrible.
If I may, the Eagles beating up on a team, respectfully, Mikey Byrne, that has had an offense that Janet Jackson would look at and say, put on more fucking clothes, please, does not put them in the number 3 spot. This is an asinine play by you. I don't give a damn how high you've been on them. You know what else you've been high on? Don't do meth. Okay? How about that for 30 seconds?
Well, don't do math either. Don't do
But
math.
I like it. I like it, Kyle.
But the punchline is this. You
Do math. Don't smoke crack.
Correct. Eagles are worse and should be ranked lower than the following teams for now: Ravens, Bills, Vikings, and Packers. They should be 8th.
I have no problem with the Eagles ahead of the Ravens after what happened against Cleveland. I feel like you can react to that however you want.
Let me finish here, Sean, real quick. If you're actually properly punishing the Ravens for this week, which it's very for you to do so, there's no way they're 4. Somebody is too high in both instances.
No, Eagles Ravens are probably close, but they should be like I forget where I have them, 5, 6, 6, 7, somewhere in there.
If you put the Ravens as low as 7 or 8, I could live with it because the Browns are a bad team too. If you want to punish them, I am down. Okay, but there's no way you're 3 and 4 are correct.
What'd you do, Ernest? Punish them one spot?
How are either of them
One
better
spot,
than
yeah,
the
one
Bills?
spot, yeah.
The Bills are smoking teams and like got better with Amari Cooper, and Josh Allen's still better than. I mean, you can tell me Lamar Jackson's an MVP quarterback all you want, but Josh Allen, I'd take him all day. Like I feel there's really nothing going wrong for the Bills minus maybe some pass defense.
Demetrius Jackson is asked to do more every week than Josh Allen is.
Also, the reason I had the Ravens on the Bills.
Well, it's harder for him.
Also, I Ravens over the Bills because they actually head-to-head also did play a part in that.
But both are the best running back on the team. Although, actually, Josh Allen is probably more important as a runner for his team than Lamar is now.
James Cook looked pretty good this week.
I mean,
We did.
you had the Eagles at 8 last week,
Correct.
and the Packers, the Texans, and the Bills were all ahead of them.
Mhm.
And all those teams won. The Bills also won very convincingly. I don't. Again, no offense to the Bengals. I don't see how a win over the Bengals is a 5-spot jump.
Not just a win, a convincing blowout on the road.
The
win.
Bills had a
Buddy.
convincing blowout win against the Seahawks.
Yeah, and they got rewarded for it as such too. Also, didn't they? What were last week? There was 7 last week. That went
You
to
moved
5.
them
Okay.
2.
Okay.
What the Falcons aren't even in the top 10. I'm just picking up.
No, they're not. That had been 2 weeks. That Seattle loss was pretty bad.
What?
The Bills also went.
They are not better than the Steelers, dude.
The
they
Bills
are.
also went.
not better
Hold
than the
on. The Bills also went to Seattle
Okay.
and cleaned their clock, and the Bills were
And they
ahead
got
of the Eagles
rewarded.
last
What do you worry about? They got rewarded for the win. I mean, not like they didn't
Right,
move at all.
but the
I mean-
Eagles got
I mean-
over rewarded. Is my point.
But the
Okay,
Vikings are ahead of the Commanders. Okay, Jim, you're not on the sauce. EJ is.
Yeah,
I mean, you keep telling me
I
that
also don't like the
it's
Commanders not moving.
Fair.
But-
Because they were at 9.
Well, I mean,
Daniels
literally,
proved he could still ball.
literally
and then
Hail
they're
Mary for
still
losing
at
the
9.
game. So that's not. It's a great story.
and the
but-
Steelers were literally a strip sack from TJ Watt away from playing overtime against the goddamn Giants.
Giants were not scoring that game because they don't score.
That's kind of
He's
perfect
not
to this
wrong.
point, Chief.
Right, like that's
Daniel Jones is awful.
The fucking Steelers could not score a red zone touchdown if their life fucking depended on it last night. He literally looked like it was Seattle in the Super Bowl trying to throw a slant pass that's getting picked off. Why aren't you running Najee Harris inside the fucking
Are we
10-yard
arguing
line?
the Steelers and the Falcons? Is that what we're arguing here?
I have the Falcons and I have the Steelers out because they looked like absolute dog shit
Want to
last
see the
night.
final couple minutes? Want to see a couple minutes? But
Look, I'm not gonna.
But I will
stop
also
anybody
say
from
this-
bashing Pittsburgh ever.
But I will also say this as
that's
everyone
that's a
keeps
weird play,
deciding to pour
Giants
gasoline on the
defense is
Bengal
good.
fire.
Mike. The Giants' defense is good.
I literally
hate to
watched
say it,
Russell
but it's
Wilson
good
go
enough.
in behind 3 wide receivers and have a wide open lane for him to run, and instead he tried to throw it behind somebody. Again, I will be the person that slanders Russell Carrington Wilson on this show because nobody else seems to be able to. At the
I
end
don't
of the
think
day,
Russell Wilson's
Hold the
great.
fuck on now, Mike.
get him, Kyle.
no,
EJ, no, you shut your ass. EJ, how many years did I take a dump on Russell Carrington Wilson before he became Russell Carrington
Yeah,
Wilson?
you did.
Look, what you do on your own time is yours, Kyle.
Thank you,
And-
Sean. Hush. Now, has he looked great? I agree with you that he hasn't, Mike. But being a member of the Steelers, he doesn't have to. It's TJ Watt that's the damn MVP, as you mentioned. By the way, I'm on your side of the argument with what he's doing with the Steelers, if you'll remember. So get this: nobody will criticize Russell Carrington
well, no one wanted to dunk on Ernest for having him in the top 10. We all wanted to say that it was fine.
dude. I
I'm
just
sorry,
said it was Falcons. What the?
I'm sorry. I can't trust a team who got blown out by Seattle 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry.
Can I
can't
see
trust-
everyone else?
No, you
See if I
ain't-
can find a Kyle in this thing.
Don't give a
I mean,
shit.
can I also finish
Where's
my Bengals
Kyle's
take?
mistake?
yeah,
That-
Mike.
that-
You were
that no
you were
one-
making a point. We gotta watch. talking
Ooh, Mike, look at this sexy pick here. The
Okay,
Saints
so-
28. Oh, you too,
Okay.
Jim.
Hold on. Can I finish
Good.
my fucking
Yeah,
Bengals
let
take? Once in my
everybody
goddamn
let
life.
fucking Mike finish his goddamn point.
Because all I saw in the fucking the group chat on Facebook was fucking the Bengals aren't good. The Bengals aren't this. Well, guess what? A fucking interception, a fumble, and a turnover on downs is the reason why that score ended up being 20 points. Let's be very fucking transparent. The Bengals have not been able to hold on to the football all year. If they finish any of those drives, the Eagles don't, quote, blow the Bengals out. It was a 7-point game until they decided to do what they've done all fucking year, which isn't being able to hold on to the goddamn football. At the end of the day, that game wasn't a blowout victory for the fucking Eagles. The score may look at it, but that means you didn't watch the fucking game. At the end of the day, it's this. The fact of the matter is I don't think the Eagles beat the Bills. I don't think they beat the Ravens. I don't think they beat the Texans.
Okay.
While I agree with the last statement there, Mike, I feel like the take on the Bengals game is absolutely horrendous because
Shocking.
there's a lot of
I'm so
teams that we've
surprised.
talked up on this podcast because they don't need much performance on the offense, because those kind of defensive takeaways are part of the game. And the Eagles' defense is what's kept them in the game despite the lack of scoring in the first half. The Eagles' defense has played pretty lights out over the past 4 weeks. So it's not surprising to me that they took the ball away 2 out of 3 drives. And you can tell me, well, the Bengals didn't hold on to the ball. The Eagles might have just taken the ball. Like they forced them into scenarios where they had to throw. I'm not trying to tell you.
Mike
Was the
Gesicki
score
fumbling
inflated?
is
Yes.
a real force.
But was it a 1-score game? No. I watched the game. The Eagles just shat the bed for an entire quarter and a half. You ran the ball for like 10. You held the ball for like 10 minutes in the first quarter. The Eagles took to the second quarter to score, which, by the way, still no first quarter touchdowns. But this one, I'll give it to Matt, is trivial. But the Eagles let the score, their own score, be low for most of the first half, and you guys just didn't take advantage of that because the Eagles' defense is good.
You scored 10 points in the last 4 minutes of the game.
Okay,
You won by 20.
that's a 2-score game then, Mike.
And you were only up by 7 entering the fourth quarter.
Mike,
you guys
we
are acting
scored
like
10 points in the last 4 minutes.
Okay.
And
whatever.
it's a 20-point
Again.
win. That's a 2-score game.
Again,
I'm just telling you, the game, yes, the game was very
I
good for
watched the
3
whole
quarters,
fucking
but it's a
thing, too.
4-quarter game.
And I watched the whole thing too. The Eagles are not good in the first half. This
They're
wasn't
not.
a blowout. This isn't a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. You guys look at a box score. The box score makes it look like a blowout. But we're not talking about how they handed them the extra 10 points. If they score on any of those drives, it's a 1-possession game with 4 minutes left.
But they didn't, Mike.
To support
For
Bengals.
the record, I only had the Eagles move up 1 spot this week because I'm still not convinced that they are as
I didn't
good
move
as-
them super far. I
Some
think I had
Yeah,
them
yeah.
above
I'm the
spot.
one that was a lot more.
Right,
Oh my
EJ,
God.
You're the moron.
did.
Leave us
EJ
that.
Calm
did
down,
what
Kyle.
EJ
Calm
does.
down, Kyle.
And the whole
Let's see your
conversation
rankings.
was directed at Ernest.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
And I'm the only person with the Eagles behind the Commanders, so don't act like I'm taking a stance here.
I have the
that the
Commanders
Eagles
at
are great.
4.
Oh,
But
you
I'll
do as
step
well.
those out.
Your
Until-
list and my list have been incredibly close over
Right.
the last 2
Until
weeks.
I see the Commanders beat the Eagles, I think the Eagles are better than the Commanders right now. That's
By the way,
right, because you take the last 14 years into consideration with Bill.
I'm on the other one. I want the Eagles to prove to me they're better.
Well, we'll find out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's that for me. I'm like the Commanders have outplayed us. They've looked better. Their quarterback looks now, to Jalen Hurts' credit, he has looked safer in the last 2 weeks, and
Yes.
it's been
Plain clean.
I
Nice.
will say the Eagles' run game is superior to the Commanders' run game.
Jim.
yeah, it is.
Commanders at 4 ahead of the Ravens. Baltimore beat the.
I'm
the Commanders.
punishing the Ravens for losing.
You're
to the
doing
team
it on
that
purpose.
Not as much as I did.
I had the Browns as the 32nd team.
I got them at
last
9.
week. If you lose to them, you're going to get punished.
Divisional physics, buddy.
That's a better.
I don't,
that's
no,
a better-
I don't give a shit about divisional
You,
physics.
then you should give shit about divisional physics then.
No.
Why?
Because I told everybody the lock of the week was +9 Cleveland.
Cool story, bro. You
Good
got
for
one
I
right.
paid your bets and I lost. You owe me $1.50, fucker.
That's right. Sorry, bud.
Like,
So-
go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah,
Right.
so a few things. I find it interesting that the evil twin is plotting and supporting the Eagles, and then in the very next turn says he needs more proof of them. I think it's exactly what Mike's point is. So I'll lead with that. A, B. EJ, if you're going to take a shot about me not doing my own power rankings, you tell me another weekend where you have 4 events that
I'm
involve
just fucking with you,
Shut the
Kyle.
fuck up. I'm trying to goddamn plug
Oh
myself.
my god.
section where you don't have 4
That didn't sound right.
Yes,
Thanks,
that's so
Mike.
true. Thank you, Mike.
That made my day.
I mean, woo.
just because asshole interrupts everybody, y'all get a joke. This is an awesome fucking show. God damn. Fuck
Chris
you.
Collins.
Eddie.
Got nothing on Chris Collinsworth. It's nice.
I definitely put the Dolphins and the Saints in my bottom 5 because both those offenses look like hot trash now. Spencer Rattler is garbage. Tua is not gonna save this Dolphins
Carr will
team.
be back this week, right? Like,
Does it matter?
I kind of. Yeah.
I mean, they didn't look that great with him. I mean, yeah, the Cowboy game with the blowout there, but I mean,
That was nice.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Again,
I
I'll
also-
say it again this year. I think it'd be easier to do bottom 10, top 5
See,
because
Yeah, there's like 8 or 9 teams that like could easily just shuffle
there's
into
just
this
a lot of
bottom
bad
5.
at the bottom.
It's
it also
bad.
looks like I'm the only one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sean also did, but penalized the Vikings for losing to the Rams.
Yeah, but I'm also ready to reward the Rams. More on that later.
I did, for the record, I mean, I did drop the Vikings 3 spots.
I mean, I dropped them from like 4 to 9 because
I mean, the
Yeah,
Vikings have slid 2 in a row now, right?
Yeah, the
It's
reason
like back-to-back losses, and they
the-
did not look good in the first loss.
the reason
They're starting to feel like they're losing their luster. A little
Yeah,
bit
to your
me.
point, Sean. The reason I didn't kill the Vikings too. Also, you're playing the Rams on a short week. The Rams got healthy this week. On top of that, and when the Rams are healthy, they're a totally different team. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to put teams at a spot where they're either going to move up or down. The Vikings are right where they need to be, which is 10, because they're either going to show me they belong in the 10 and move back up a little bit, or they're going to continue their slide, and then I don't have to deal with them anymore. I wanted them at 10, and I put them there.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a couple teams at 10. There could certainly could be a couple of teams at 28. You know, if you want that to be the Giants,
Yeah.
if you want that to be the Saints, if you want that to be the Dolphins. I know Mike has the Dolphins in down at 30. If you want it to be the Dolphins in there,
Good on the Browns for pulling out of this, though. I feel for me, it was a
yeah,
bad-
and
they're
you know,
up there.
because they certainly looked a lot more competent. You know, Jameis Winston looked more like Deshaun Watson in
I feel
2020.
like there was
than
another
Deshaun
team. Oh, the
Watson.
Jaguars could easily be down there. They're pretty piss poor.
But like I think for me, it's I think your top 2, probably the third with the Bills, and then I think it's somewhere in the middle. Again, if the Ravens can easily move back above the Commanders, I don't believe in 4As and 4Bs, so that's why I had the Ravens.
Anybody else find it
Coward.
fun that like I found it fun when I was like putting that like 8, 9, 10 together, like that there's some like interesting teams that I think are like a win or two away that they could be like the fact that if Bo Nix pulls off, like, I don't know, if he were to win his next 2 games, like I would find it real hard to not have him and the Broncos in the top 10. Now it would require some of those
I mean, they're
teams falling
close.
out, but I kind of excited for Bo Nix. I didn't think I would say that.
They're a surprising team. Yeah, I
Yes.
would say.
I had the Falcons, the Steelers, the Broncos.
Denver Broncos.
We're all in the discussion for
Mhm.
the 10 spot for me. And I had like 4 or 5 teams in the 28 discussion. Saints, who I put there, the Raiders, the Giants.
Yeah, I
think
like the
also-
Raiders stayed out because I like Gardner Minshew. So
I think I also had, who was the other team I had? Oh, I had the Jaguars in the conversation. I won't go as bad as saying as they're as bad as you think they are, Sean. I do think that they have now waved the white
well,
flag.
they've graduated
on
out
the
of
season.
hot garbage, but they're still garbage.
Jags are
They're
yeah,
not
they're-
good. Trevor
they're
Lawrence
they're
is not
disappointment.
playing as good as I thought he would.
They're disappointment, but they're
No,
not.
no, no.
I don't like it.
And play the part of Mikey Byrne. There's proof you don't watch the games. Trevor Lawrence is not
Thank you.
a problem for this Jaguars.
Well, he's not the problem.
The tying touchdown was completed by Trevor Lawrence. The defense failed him to bring us extra football to watch that
Oh,
game.
the defense is way worse.
Considering the fact that 2 active receivers, that's right, 2 active receivers, they were forced to
That's
run
true.
the ace formation for the rest of the fucking game. I know you've never heard of Tim Jones, and you shouldn't have, Sean. And then Parker Washington coming in to assert himself over veteran Christian Kirk, who's now out for the year. And I know you've never heard of Brenton Strange, but he made 2 amazing catches to set
I'll
up.
have you know that I'm in a dynasty fantasy league, and I followed Brenton Strange for all the weeks that Evan Ingram was injured. So
In that case, bad props to you for that, my friend. But the punchline being, Trevor Lawrence isn't the problem.
I really didn't want to move the Green Bay Packers up this week. I had them at 9 last week. The only reason why they moved up is because Minnesota torpedoed
Fell apart.
down as many spots as they did with the Rams. Because at the end of the day, the Packers, knowing that the Jaguars only have 2 healthy wide receivers and still to only win by a field goal. I get it. It's survive if you can, and that's kind of the way it's felt like with a lot of teams this year. It's survive the games and get out with a victory. Perfect example of that is the Kansas City Chiefs, who we've gone back and forth on this show. They've been able to survive. Green Bay survived this game, but it doesn't feel like they should really have been rewarded. They're rewarded because other teams ahead of them decided to plummet back to earth.
Yeah. And that's kind of the story of some of mine. I mean, for me, like, I think we're kind of at that point, unless we start seeing major upsets or something, that the teams that are kind of in at least probably the top 6 are probably going to be there for a while, unless there's injuries or teams just actually just fall apart or whatever, because we're kind of at that point where we're starting to be aware of who people are. For me, I don't envision huge swings for anybody.
Let me ask you guys a question. Okay, how many teams do you consider Super Bowl contenders right now through 8 weeks?
4.
Okay, is it your top 4?
Probably.
Okay. So I'll go 1, 2, 3.
I could put a fringe 5th team there.
Okay,
And-
hold on. I gotta ask you to quantify what you mean by Super Bowl contender.
As you know how I do it, everybody has different ways of making this.
Well, that's why I asked the question.
Right. So for me, do I see X team playing in their conference championship game?
Okay.
At least.
Then I'm probably at 5 or 6 by default, because I have to pick 2 teams to play in the NFC title game
Yeah.
based off of numbers.
Right.
No. I totally agree with you. I have 6 also. My number is 6 as well.
Wait,
Yeah.
there's 2 teams in every game?
It's my top 5 and then the Packers.
I'm sorry, I still laugh at that.
The Vikings.
Yeah, I mine honestly are probably just my top 5 right now.
But tier 1? Are you talking about tier 1?
Well, as like teams, maybe 6. I'll throw the Packers in there.
I don't think I have 4 in my tier 1.
Well, no, this isn't tier 1. These are EJ's
Super Bowl bubble.
Super Bowl bubble. We're back in the bubble again.
Could you what teams could you see playing in their conference title
in their
games,
conference
basically?
title games?
There's a world
Chiefs,
where
Bills, Lions, and someone else.
but you
I
could
don't
also
have a second NFC team that's like guaranteed to be there.
So you have kind of like 5 or 6 then. You're kind of like where I think we all are.
I mean, right now,
Because that
I think the
second team could
Packers,
be
to
Green
be honest,
Bay
right
or-
now, based on what I'm seeing, teams win when they should and pull games out when they should and fight when they should. It's probably the Washington Commanders.
I was gonna say mine are Chiefs, Bills, Ravens.
But they might, I mean, it's a rookie quarterback. You know what's going to happen. So
My AFC is Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. My NFC is Lions, Eagles, Commanders.
And I think for me, it's like the Commanders / Eagles would be the team opposite the Lions. Whichever one decides they want to take control of the East, it's going to be with a little bit of a show, and then that team will pull ahead and be my 4th.
Yeah, mine is my top 5: Chiefs, Lions, Eagles, Ravens, Bills, and then the Packers are my 6th team. I don't see Houston in there.
How many
Right now,
teams
still.
play in your conference championship, EJ?
No, he's saying that
All
those
of
are
them.
teams that could play in the conference.
Right.
title.
Could.
He's not
Okay.
saying to pick your conference champions today.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm saying
Sean,
who I
that-
envision.
So to be fair, for the podcast audience, like that's why I quantified the question, because
Yeah, it was.
when you say Super Bowl contenders, to me, Lions Chiefs.
that's my 2.
That is my, because when I think Super Bowl contenders, if we're sitting here week 8 and I close my eyes and I think who's playing in the Super Bowl this year, Lions Chiefs. That's my
And I
answer.
have the Bills at like a slightly distant 3rd.
Yeah.
Like
The
my
reason-
top 3 is it. I don't
the
have a 4th.
The reason I say conference championship is because you got to play for the right to get there. So who would that opponent be? So at least
EJ, that's a separate question.
right.
You're like
That's
asking me
what
who
he
my Super Bowl, finalists are.
Right,
I'm
so
like,
who-
well, I have 2.
EJ's
and then you're like,
actual
well, who's
question is
playing
who
in
are your conference championship contenders?
Okay, so yeah, he wants like 5 or 6 ish teams that could win their okay. I gave you mine.
It could be less than
did I.
that. It could be less than that. You could be stuck on just like 2 teams. That's it, no matter what. So
Lions, Eagles, Commanders, Bills, Chiefs, Ravens.
Yeah.
There it is. There's my AFC and NFC.
I'll say my top 6 are my 6.
I will say though,
3
I
AFC
don't like
and
my
the
top
3
6 in that question.
I will say if I had a 7th, the Steelers are interesting.
No.
If I had a 16th
They're
team,
deep. Now let's
What
see
the
it.
fuck makes them interesting?
Well, the defense starters top 3.
Their
in the league.
offense is dog water. They can't fucking score. You
Michelle?
expect them to beat fucking Buffalo?
I'm not putting them in there. I'm just saying that they're interesting. Let's
Stop
see what
with
happens in a couple
the
weeks.
fucking risky
Yeah, but
bullshit.
at that point, you might as well just say you're top 10.
No, I'm not.
Right.
Going to, 'cause I don't
well,
see.
EJ, if I was
I
gonna
don't
pick
see
a
any.
12th
I don't
team-
see any world right now where the Vikings play an NFC title game.
But
where
what
the Texans
if,
play an NFC title
EJ,
game.
what if the wind
No,
blows
no,
in the right
no,
direction?
if-
in
no,
Minnesota?
if
What if it
things change-
snows in
If
Minnesota?
things change, it's a fluid argument. Of course, it's a fluid conversation. But right now, through 8 weeks, I don't see it.
So it's your top 9.
Never
Jim.
change. Never get off the fence.
Jim, it's
No,
your
of
top
course
9.
not. No, it's not. It's still 6 teams.
His whole like EJ's picks are like
Sean.
the putt game on The Price is Right.
Sean,
where it's a hole in one
Sean, all I
or
was
two.
Sean, you're making a big deal about it. All I was saying was that I'm interested in the Steelers.
My favorite sound
The
effect.
city of Pittsburgh is barely interested.
I don't. hate
Kyle,
Pittsburgh
do you
being
want to
contender,
try
but
to give a number to EJ's convoluted question?
Well, you
Do
know,
you want to
the
get
answer's
dunk on him
4.
for the Steelers?
the part that I find the most hilarious is I'm the one person on the panel that understood the fucking question when he asked it the first time.
Oh no,
I
I
understood
just
the question. I just had to
psychopath.
quantify it for people that maybe
Kyle,
knew.
you also know he's been working with me for like 12 years now. So you
Yes,
know,
please remind me of that pain.
got
It
him.
coming every Tuesday, buddy.
So
12
that's what
years.
she said. Anyways,
Plug it up.
so yeah, that I'm actually doing work in sport press boxes, but whatever, that's fine. So for me, I think leaving the Bills out of the conversation as somebody that could sneak by and get vengeance, especially after we had a conversation that we had about Josh Allen seems a bit, I don't call it dishonest, but wacky, so I think the Bills deserve their credit to be one of the other other 3 teams in the Super Bowl conversation. But because the NFC has to present somebody, I think Jordan Love farves himself out of the playoffs too, Larry, for that. I think the possibility of the Niners getting hot in the playoffs is something that shouldn't be overlooked. So I'm going to put them on the list. Hit the homer button if you'd like, but
Homer.
Homer.
But I think a lot of that hinges on whether McCaffrey's actually going to be healthy out of a bye or not.
See,
And it's not just McCaffrey we have to be concerned with there.
Yes,
Like I'm talking
right.
about piece after piece after piece after piece coming back, while what the fuck?
No, I put a
Ryan.
comment from Ryan on the
Oh,
screen. The
okay.
optics don't look good for EJ here.
They haven't.
Hey,
for quite
fuck
a
you,
while,
Ryan. Bold.
I will say to Kyle's 49er conversation, let's not forget that it's not just offensive pieces that are going to come back.
Yeah.
There are going to be defensive pieces that are going to make this defense really good again. Let's not forget about those guys. So if there's
Gotta
a
make
team,
defense good again.
There you go.
so Jesus Christ.
What happened?
So while I look at Christian McCaffrey being a piece, like we also need to make sure that Jordan Mason's shoulder
Nobody
doesn't
knows defense better.
fall out of socket. We also need to make sure that Debo looks like he's able to stay healthy. But the fact of the matter is this:
Just
as
looks
long
like
as their
not
defense keeps playing to the level of defense that the Niners can play at, they're going to be a team that can make a run late in the season.
Well, and let me land the plane this way. Depending on when they come back, Mike, they'll have guys that are coming back and also being rested, while other players have maintained campaigns or getting knocked out themselves. That's the advantage of missing time early, is when you come back, you could be in a better position to do battle.
The old
We
Tom
saw
Brady
Drew Brees do that. Sorry?
The old Tom Brady effect. He did that one year.
I think that's not a bad example, Sean. The one I would use is Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, that's a good
He
one
would
too.
have otherwise been clearly cooked if he played the full season.
Tom Brady's was a suspension.
Right. Brady is always going to be healthy for all of the games until he's like a billion years old. Brees was clearly on the decline the year they went deep in the playoffs with him before he retired, right?
Oh, sure.
So
Correct.
that's why I go with Brees on that. Is if he had played the full 16, there's no fucking way he had the arm strength to finish the playoffs.
And I mean the Niners coming out of the bye week. I mean they have a bunch of difficult games. But they also have 3 games within the division because again the NFC West has to send somebody.
Yep.
So if in that tight battle, you can beat Seattle, you can beat the Rams, you can beat Arizona the last week of the year. You know, like all of those teams not looking at their schedule, they're going to lose some games. Niners probably going to lose some games as well. But if they can get the full strength, rattle off a couple of wins, because you do play the Dolphins in there, you play the Bears in there, like you're going to have an opportunity to get a shot at the division.
Exactly. That's the opportunity to get hot, period.
Yeah, very
NFC
good.
West is so interesting.